Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're doing another review. Today we're going to take a look at the WorldBox AT-004. It's the 1/6 scale body that WorldBox produces, and this one here is a representation of Morgan from The Walking Dead. I'm not really going to focus too much on the actual likeness. Is more of a look at the actual body and if it's useful for one of your bashes. I have been collecting this line since its inception with I believe it was AT-001, which was a likeness of Shane. Then they made 2, which was a likeness of the Mandarin from Iron Man 3. AT-003 was Merle, and now we have Morgan, which is AT-004. So getting on to it, this particular one just released about 2-3 weeks ago. Just picked it up, received it yesterday, and just thought I'd give you a look at it. I have been bashing the Walking Dead line from this company, and I think it makes a great opportunity to actually create the figures, since there seems to be a real big lack in manufacturers producing 1/6 scale figures from The Walking Dead. But the body itself is the main feature here. This is the standard body that WorldBox produces. It's sort of clone or very similar to, if you're familiar with Hot Toys, TTM-19 or Wolverine style body. Articulation is similar, but there are some differences. So I'll do a quick rundown on the articulation. The head is on a ball joint. Looks down that far. Oops, up that far. You'll notice here the head just sits on a peg. It's a ball joint, and then it actually slots over that, so that does come off on all of their releases. But it can look up that far, down that far. Pretty good pivot side to side. One of the differences here is in the torso. It's more of a hard torso versus Hot Toys has a soft one, so there's actually shoulder movement forward and back and up and down. This one there's not. It's simply up, down, and out to about that far. Single bend elbow, and there's rotation at the elbow. And there is a wrist peg too, some wrist articulation, so it swivels, and it has a very little bit of pivot back and forth. The joint is pretty well hidden, which is nice. It's not as noticeable, but because it's so well sunken in, the articulation point there is not all that useful. Get it in about that far, out, depending on how you have it set. There's an ab joint. Legs can go up, out. There's a pivot at the top of the leg. Double jointed knee. And they have a little bit of their own unique ankle peg, so it can pivot down side to side, and you can readjust it like so to get ankle pivot. And they also tell you in their pamphlet that one of the other functions of that particular joint is fall prevention, so it prevents the figure from leaning forward, which I guess is a neat touch. So that's the articulation. One thing I will also note, this body is anatomically correct, so he doesn't come with these shorts on. I thought I'd spare you guys the view below the belt, because like I said, it's anatomically correct. All WorldBox bodies are, so don't expect them to be wearing shorts when you get him out of the box. And getting to the box, I'll just briefly show you that. They used to come in clamshells, now they come in a full box. As you can see, there's the AT-004 logo. They're saying that it's 100% virgin material. I'm not sure exactly what that means. And one of the other things to note about these bodies is they do tote them as very durable. There's been some videos, you could look it up on WorldBox. They do YouTube as well, where they are throwing these things against the wall and taking a hammer to them. They are extremely durable. Not that I've put them to that test myself, nor would I, but it is worth noting. And then your typical warning information. And it's again talking about the high density material used, and then the fall prevention ankle joints. They also give you a little pamphlet showing that detail as well. And how you can remove the feet and use it to click into your standard 6-scale molded boots. So that's some of the basics on that. Bring the figure back into shot here. I will tell you that the joints are really very tight. There's no real loose joints on this particular one. They're not overly tight, so you can pose them pretty easily. The outward movement on the shoulders is a little overly tight. There's no floppy joints. Everything holds its pose pretty well. If you pivot this, you get higher articulation here. Knee joints are stable and stiff. Ankle joints are very tight, which that's a point where I believe all 6-scale figures should be. Another thing to note is the body is heavy. It's got some decent weight to it. It's a little heavier than your standard 1/6 body. The materials used do seem to be of, I guess, like they say, high density. So there's not a tremendous, but a noticeable difference in the weight of these figures. And let's go ahead and focus a little bit more on the sculpt now. I think they did capture the sculpt pretty well. Paint work is throughout the entire body, but the paint apps on the head are pretty simple. He almost has like a slightly shiny look to it, so it gives him kind of a sweaty effect, which I guess works for the character, because they're typically in, I believe the show takes place in Georgia, and it's usually hot. The eye paint is pretty clean, as well as the beard. The paint apps themselves are clean, but they're nothing amazing. I mean, there's nothing, don't expect Hot Toys type realism in the skin texture, because you're not really going to get that. But it is clean, it's nice, it's very serviceable. The sculpt on the hair is done really nice. So again, the whole body is painted. So there's very slight shading. There's some veining going on. A little bit of skin texture. You can see even in the hands there's some veins painted in. So pretty well detailed figure. Solid construction. Excellent for replacing the TTM-19 if you need this style body. It's available obviously in African American or in Caucasian. The Merle figure that was released about a month or two ago should still be available if you need one of these. They're also broken down on your 1/6 sites like Monkey Depot and Toy Anxiety. So if you're interested in the body or in creating your own Morgan figure from The Walking Dead, I recommend go ahead and pick it up. It's a solid release, solid figure. They retail at about $60. So it's a little higher than your standard knockoff True Types, but the quality is better. The articulation is average. It's not the greatest. The shoulder articulation is pretty weak, and the single jointed elbow is not the best either. However, I will note they are releasing a new line. It's the VT line, which is going to be a lot more posable. So keep your eyes out on that. When those release, I will do a review on those. And that's it, guys. That's a look at the WorldBox AT-004 True Type body. Until next time, guys, thanks very much for watching.